Hello again, it's Noob, and today we get to look at the FoxHole impressioning handle from Hooligan Keys, and this was kindly gifted to me by Hooligan Keys when I last saw them at LockCon in autumn last year. So it has been a while, I'm a bit embarrassed to say, but I wanted to cover it because I did cover the version 1 quite some time ago now, and this is heavy. This is a robust little miniature handle, but it's steel and it's very, very weighty. This version 2 is made out of a very high quality aluminium, and it comes with all sorts of little threaded grub screws. You can see that I have a little grub screw that side and a couple on this side and the actual handle itself, and you can get all these out using the hex key which comes with it. And what's nice about this little handle which goes on it, which allows you to have a better grip when you're turning the tool in the lock, is that it can recess into the back for just easy carrying. It doesn't get lost. You can also, of course, put this either side of the handle depending on your preference, handedness, all those kind of things. So when it's installed, you get a good grip with your fingers, and just turn the lock, give it a wriggle either side as you're doing some impressioning. If you don't know what impressioning is, I will do a little demonstration on this wafer lock in a second for you. So before we do a demo, just want to cover off one more thing which may be a concern for some people when they hear aluminium, and that is steel on aluminium wearing the threads, but these actually have steel thread inserts in, so that will not be a problem. And no doubt in the comments somebody will say that you just need a pair of grip pliers like this to hold your key while you're doing some impressioning, and actually that works very well in some cases, but unless you tighten them very, very, very tightly, they do tend to wobble a bit. It's not as secure, it's not as comfortable. And anybody who does impressioning professionally or in competition always uses a handle, and some of them are far more expensive than this. So impressioning is the art of taking a blank key like this with no bitting to a lock which it fits in, for which you do not have the original key. You put it in, you apply turning force one way, wriggle it up and down, force the other way, wriggle it up and down, take it out, and you should be able to see some markings on the key. They're not always very visible to the naked eye, but you do get more visible marks with more pressure and more force, which you can't do very well by just using your fingers like this. That's why you tend to use a handle or something like that, where you can actually exert a lot more force inside the lock. To exert that force, you will need to tighten down your key inside your handle really, really well, and there are 4 points of contact on this handle for that key. I do like to, and this is my preference, tighten these up so that I have the flat part of the key against one of the flat parts of the handle rather than in the middle. I feel it gives me a little better grip and stability. I'm going to try with the handle on the left hand side. So the first thing to do is just get the screws vaguely tight, just a tiny bit tight on this side, and I'm missing a screw this side because I took the handle out, and you can see that they are contacting the key quite nicely, and I've got that in a nice sort of central position, nice and straight. So you can just adjust it how you like it. That feels, let's have a look. That feels good to me. Now what I can do is just make this side finger tight as well, and then I'm going to pop the handle in and tighten up all the grub screws all the way around to make sure I've got a nice tight grip. And yes, the handle can be tightened down too, like this, with the hex key which comes with it. And yeah, we just want to make sure that this is very tightly gripped, but not so tight that you end up splaying the forks of this tool. It's very robust, but you can put a heck of a lot of torque using these hex keys. So you want to have a nice balance between grip and just being a bit sensible. So that should be about it, I think. And while I'm using a wafer lock here, you can impression pretty much any standard pin tumbler if you've got key blanks for that too. So I've tried to rearrange the camera so it gives you the best view, but everything's going to shake around as I impression anyway because this isn't a fixed workbench, but we'll try our best. The idea is we pop this in, we turn, we give it a really firm shake, turn it the other way, give it another firm shake this way, and we're just trying to get a nice solid impression without putting too much force on the key, otherwise you can tear your key like this. You're dealing with brass and a handle which gives a lot of leverage, and that's good and bad in equal measure. So let's have a look here. So you see all my first impressioning marks is just there. I will now try to impression the lock, but bear in mind that this will be sped up because you don't want to see me take all of this time to impression the lock. So there's a mark there, there's a mark here, there's a mark there, there's a little mark there. So let me just put a little swipe on some of these, like that. And again, you might just be able to see a little mark here on the edge. It's more on this edge here, but we'll give that a file. Feel we're getting closer. There's a very big scratch on here, so I want to file that away. Oh, we got an open. We got an open. Look at that. It's a bit notchy. Maybe if I can encourage it to bite in a little bit, we'll see why. Maybe this tip here, a little bit notchy. But it's definitely an open. Definitely an open. I've got the original key, so let me just find it and we'll see how close I was to that. Okay, so really pretty good actually. I think maybe we're a little bit off on the tip here and also down here, but yeah, it works. Let's just try this key. Yeah, that was a lot smoother, but this one was giving us a turn, yeah, like that, so it does work. It's just not quite as smooth. One of the ways around this is to pop it in, give it a good turn, and then take it out. There we go. And just see where it's catching, and it does look like it's catching definitely on the tip there, a little bit here and a little bit there. So I imagine if we just spent a couple of seconds giving everything a little bit of a smooth off, it might just be a little bit better. But again, like I said, you can use the normal key, but to get your impression key working a bit smoother, oh, look at that. You just need to give it a few turns and just look on the key as to where you're getting some little marks, and then just file those down. So there you go. This is the FoxHole impressioning handle from Hooligan Keys, which I think at the time of filming you can pick up at around $50 US on the Hooligan Keys website. As you saw, it was very, very serviceable, even in my hands, and I have to say I'm not an experienced lock impressioner. I can impression a lock, but it's not my comfort zone. I haven't spent thousands of hours like some competition impressioners on impressioning locks. So whatever my opinions are, you've got to caveat that with I'm not a heavy user of impressioning handles. So what do I like about this tool? Well, I do like the fact that it works really well, and it's very, very light in the hand. It's a good size. It appears quite short, but it actually just sits in the hand very, very well. I think if I was impressioning for hours at a time or practicing for a competition or maybe as a professional, I might want a more ergonomically shaped handle, but you would pay a lot more for such an item. In fact, you can do. I like the fact that it grips the key very well. Let me just show you the key. You'll see where those grub screws are bitten into the brass, and that's partly why it holds on very tight. Another great feature is the fact that there are steel inserts on the inside of this, so that you're not threading a hardened steel bolt into some aluminium, because that would eventually wear the threads away, so I really like that. I like the fact that you can put this bolt in the end at the back for easy storage. Why would you want to do that? Well, that can easily fit into a pick case and allow you to have an impressioning handle on the go, really, because it is a nice slim lightweight one, and it is lightweight, and my hands were not fatigued at all when I was using the tool. Anything I don't like about this tool? Not an awful lot. I would say that the looks are relatively simple, a bit basic, but that's not a reflection on its functionality whatsoever. I guess, like I said earlier, if I was doing this for a long period of time, something more ergonomic would be suitable, but for somebody impressioning a few locks every now and again, it works brilliantly. In fact, I've seen this being used in competition to really great effect back in the Netherlands last year. So yeah, it's a very functional, very nice tool with very few downsides at all, if any. My only last comment would be, make sure you do not over tighten either side, because these forks or the tine or jaws, I don't know what you want to call it, can be forced apart if you over tighten your grub screws. I found that when I tightened them just right, there was no need to over tighten to splay out the jaws at the tip. And I think that if you are not looking after your tools and over tightening all the time, you may put fatigue on these eventually, which will decrease its longevity. So I think with a tool like this, just go careful and you'll be absolutely fine. As I said, this impressioned this key very nicely. It did not slip at all. I'm a bit of a klutz when it comes to impressioning, so I was putting quite a good degree of force on it, and it behaved extremely admirably. Wow, that was a hard one to say. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts are about this tool in the comments. I do read them all and I reply to as many as I can. If you like this video, hit the like. If you haven't subscribed and think I deserve it, hit that subscribe button, because it also really helps my channel out. And all I can say is stay safe, happy picking, and I'll see you all next time.